Hello everyone, welcome. I am Teresa Chavez. I am the manager over the East Region. And with me today is Dr. Scott Johnson, Director of Education. Welcome, Dr. Scott.
Thanks, nice to be here.
Perfect. So on today's call, we're going to be talking a little bit or covering a few frequently asked questions concerning Entune. And Dr. Scott will be helping us answer those questions. So Scott, why don't we get started by having you tell us a little bit about how Entune got started or what triggered the idea of creating such an innovative product?
Yeah, I think initially, we kind of started going down this path of a CBD product quite some time ago. In fact, several months ago. It may have even been more than a year because myself and Dr. Plant and even Ken and some of the other members of the product development team just really saw how the potential of CBD and also the potential of it to influence somebody's health and wellness. And knowing that it had such a huge impact on so many people's lives, and seeing that it was going to be a market that was going to grow exponentially, we started to kind of keep our eyes on it and look at what the regulatory environment was like and what kind of CBD quality was out there. And once we got dialed in and had enough research, we came to the conclusion that a transdermal square was really where we wanted to toe dip into the CBD market and get started.
Perfect, great. And where did the name Entune come from? What does it mean, or why Entune?
Yeah, it's kind of a combination of the words endocannabinoid and tune. Okay. And it was really a brainstorming session with several employees as we wanted to find a name that really epitomized how CBD works within the body. And CBD works really to tune this endocannabinoid system that all of us have, and most of us probably didn't even know we had.
Right.
But it tunes that system and helps everything just work better, and helps interactions with hormones and neurotransmitters to work better. And so because it's able to tune that, we just kind of came with, let's combine the words endocannabinoid and tune together, and that's where Entune came from.
Perfect. I know that we've had a few members ask, is it possible to have a drug or to test positive in a drug test while wearing the square?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and it's one that a lot of people have concerns with because there is certain positions or jobs and careers that require random and frequent drug testing, and nobody wants to fail or have a positive test because of taking a product that's meant to help improve their wellness.
Right.
And the short answer is that there is a risk of that because of the way cannabinoids build up within the body. Even though there's a very, very small percentage of THC, you still have that very low risk, and it depends on how long you've been using it, how much, what other exposure you have to other cannabinoids that you're getting in through other means, and a lot of factors, the complexity of the test that they're using, what type of test that they're using. And so the short answer is yes, that does have a small risk, but there is a risk there that everybody should be aware of. And I would just direct people to read the full statement that we have on our FAQ that's on the Zija Champions page. Perfect.
Awesome. In addition to that, is it possible to get a skin irritation when applying or after applying the patch?
Yeah, that is something that is a good question we need to address. It is possible to have some skin irritation, and that really depends on where you're applying it, as well as whether you have sensitive skin already, or maybe you already experience skin irritation on a regular basis, or if you have a sensitivity to a medical adhesive.
Okay.
And so if you're somebody who you have sensitive skin, or you frequently experience skin irritation, or you've used bandages before or any kind of other medical adhesive and it's irritated your skin, then that's something that you'll have to be aware of, that there is a possibility that you could get some skin irritation. And my experience has been people who apply them to the wrist area, that's probably one of the most high-risk areas to have that irritation. And so it's not a great place to apply unless you have some kind of wrist discomfort or something that you are trying to address. Put it in the other locations that we've recommended rather than here on the wrist.
Perfect. As far as how much CBD is on the patch, can we talk about that?
Yeah, there's kind of a myth out there right now that you have to use tons of CBD to get benefits. And the reality is that you can get benefits with lower amounts, particularly when it's coming through your skin. Because then you have adipose or fat tissue that's right below the base layer of your skin that builds up these cannabinoids, the CBD, and stores it. It acts as a storage vessel, really, for later use. Okay. And so the square has 2 milligrams of CBD. Wow. And when you combine it with these other botanicals and you consider the fact that we have 2 forms, we have a water-soluble that is a fast-acting, rapid delivery method, and the CBD oil that's a more sustained, long-term delivery, combined with your white willow bark and your black pepper and your cat's claw and your CoQ10. All of those things work together in a synergistic fashion to improve the effects and the benefits that you receive from CBD. And the proof really comes in trying it. And all the testimonials that we're getting back from our members and those who have used it, seeing that there are great benefits with a smaller dose.
Perfect. And kind of going off of that question, is there a limit as to how many patches a person can wear?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would say for the vast majority of people, 1 is all that they need to get positive benefits. If it's a smaller individual, maybe a child, then we could cut that in half and use a half, or you could cut it in half, say I wanted to benefit my shoulder at the same time I'm benefiting my back. But it's not harmful either to wear up to 5 of them at a time. And so, you could have 5 in various locations if you need to, and feel like that's what you need to go to get the benefits you're looking for.
Would you say that's the maximum? Or can someone wear more than 5?
I think 5 is a good limit. I don't think for the vast majority of people, if you go over 5, that's going to be harmful. But I think we might get to a point of some diminishing returns, and so let's go up to 5 and see if that gives us the benefits we want.
Perfect. As far as the benefits go, what kind of benefits can a person experience or see from the patch or the square?
Well, some of the most common things that we have people reporting back to us is improved sleep. It's one of the most common. They're able to fall asleep faster, they have less interruptions in their sleep, and then they just wake up feeling more rested, as well as those just sometimes you wake up with some little discomfort or aches. Those are not as present using it. Obviously soothing your musculoskeletal system, so helping to get rid of everyday aches and discomfort that you're experiencing. A more calm and relaxed feeling without sedation. So it's not that we feel like, I'm going to fall asleep when I'm wearing one, but you feel more relaxed. You have an increased ability to cope with stress and less nervousness. But you still have your ability to focus and concentrate. And really the list can continue to go on and on and on, because the endocannabinoid system is expressed in all of our major organs.
Right. Awesome. Another one of our questions that a few of our members had is, can you wear the patch while you're pregnant or breastfeeding?
Mm-hmm. So the reality is that this is a product that we don't have a lot of data yet on as far as pregnancy and lactation. And if you look on the Natural Medicines database, which is kind of the gold standard for looking at any possible cautions or interactions with natural products, it will tell you that there's insufficient current information to determine its safety during pregnancy or lactation. And so when there's insufficient information, the safest route is to just not use it until there is that information to determine safety for those that are pregnant or breastfeeding at the time.
So consult with your doctor or your physician.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Awesome. And kind of going back to my previous question on the benefits, would you say that those benefits are instant, or do they take time for someone to be able to see those benefits?
Yeah, that's going to really depend on your expression of how many cannabinoid receptors you have in your body, how much of the natural cannabinoids that your body produces that you have, how long you've been using it. But some people can experience benefits within minutes.
Okay.
Other people, it's going to take 7, even 10 plus days for them to start to feel the benefits. We're all biologically unique. We have a diversity of challenges that we're experiencing, and so each of us has to see where we get the benefits. But a lot of people do experience benefits in minutes or even the first day of using one.
Wow, that's awesome. I also wanted to make sure that I touched on, in the past, you've suggested certain places where you can apply the square. Why is that? Why is it that certain places work best? And can you kind of recap on what those places are?
Yeah, so our first method is to apply it in the desired area. So a good example would be, maybe you played basketball with some old friends and realize that you're a little older now, and so your knee's hurting. So we put it close as we can to the knee. But secondarily, we want to look for places that are as hairless as possible and have higher absorption rates. And so we're going to talk about the inside of your bicep here, the top of the spine, the neck area, and then also your inner thigh. That those can be places that have less hair, higher absorption rates, and so that's why we kind of recommend those areas.
Very good. You've also recommended wearing the square along with our essential oils. Mm-hmm. So what are those essential oils that you recommend, and why?
Well, there's a whole list of them if you look at the product information sheet that we have prepared, and it will go through some recommendations. The reality is you could pair it with just about any essential oil, just depending on what kind of benefits you're looking for. But a couple particular ones are copaiba and black pepper, and the reason for that is they are known to contain high quantities of an irregular cannabinoid that's called beta-caryophyllene. And this can help to provide an additional cannabinoid to improve the effects of CBD. And then you can also pair it with something like a lavender or a vetiver if you're looking for sleep properties. Or if you want to improve the relaxation response, we could use a pure tranquility or a calming breeze. If we want to improve the soothing of the musculoskeletal system and sore muscles, put it on and then rub the Thera-Ease around the outside edge of it. I've had a lot of people reporting back to me how that has been just so effective for them to be able to feel the soothing effects. So really it kind of goes on and on. You could make a huge list of pairing essential oils with the CBD square.
So kind of just depends on the benefit that you're trying to gain.
Right.
Perfect, that's great. And for all of you Canadian members that are watching this video, I want to make sure that I ask Dr. Scott, do we have any plans on launching this product anytime soon in Canada?
Yeah. So, we would love to, as much as the Canadian members want to have this product available to them, and we would love to have it. The reality of the product is, the nature of the product is, this is a botanical that was only recently deregulated and declassified as an illegal drug in many jurisdictions. And so because of that, you have a lot of legislative bodies that need to catch up to that deregulation. And when you have that occurring, you're not only having to look at the country itself, but also individual localities, whether it's a province or a state, they can have their own individual rules that we're looking at. And then when we're talking about taking it from the United States into Canada, we also have to look at import and export laws. And so when we're importing it into that country, that's another layer that we just have to evaluate and investigate. And so we here at Zija, we have had many conversations about that, and we are currently evaluating import-export laws, legality, because there is some ambiguity actually in Canadian law currently,
Right.
and how they classify hemp versus cannabis, and how much CBD and what THC can be in there. So all of that is being evaluated, so we can make the best decision that will allow us to bring it into the country without putting our members and the company at risk. And
Very
so
good.
until we find that right answer and solution, we'll just have to ask for patience.
Definitely. Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Scott. Let's go ahead and take some time to answer a few questions. If you're watching this video and have additional questions from the ones that we have covered, go ahead and comment, and we'll take a few minutes to answer questions. Is that okay?
Yep.
Perfect. So let's go ahead and go through. Let's see.
Can I just answer one that I frequently get asked?
Yes, please.
So a lot of people ask me potential drug interactions. So if I'm taking a medication, can it interact with CBD? And that's been one of the most common questions that I've received. And the reality is that there is a potential for that to occur. And so you always want to consult with your health professional before using this to avoid those interactions. Now, chances are they may not be well versed in what interactions are possible. And so I would just say, I would suggest you grab this book that I have right here, because in the back I do have, I did do a literature review, and I looked at what interactions we currently know with medications, so that then you can go in and have an intelligent discussion with your health professional and make a joint decision whether it's right for you or not.
Great question. That's awesome. Let's see here. Is there a preferred time to put a square on your body?
It depends on what you're using it for. If you're using it for kind of a daily maintenance thing, general well-being, then just replace it every 24 hours, and you want to alternate or rotate the application site. But if it's more like the scenario where I talked about, you went and played basketball and now your knee's aching, then of course you want to put it on right after that occurs, right after you finished your basketball game.
Very good. Let's see here. So Sharon is asking, if I have a numb, tingling hand and a sore neck, do I need 2 squares or do I need 1 square to help both issues?
So that kind of goes back to one of the original comments we had of maybe putting it on 2 different locations at once.
Okay.
It is possible that only one location might, like putting it in the neck area, which is one of our preferred areas, that might be sufficient to have some relief from a farther away area.
Okay.
But it might mean that you could put 2 on and get better benefits.
Perfect. See. And the medication question, you did just answer that. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. Migraines. Can the square help with migraines?
Well, we can't say that it can help with migraines, because that's a condition that's classified in medical manuals, and so we can't say that it works for migraines. What I can tell you is I have a personal experience with my son that experiences head tension, and that can be associated with some nausea. And he came to me last week and he said, "Dad, I'm starting to feel a little bit nauseous, and my head is not feeling real good." And so when he told me that, I said, "Okay, you go grab the Theraes. I'm going to grab an Entune square." And we put the Entune square back here on his neck, and then we rubbed the Theraes on around it, and it was literally an immediate response for him, to where he said, "Oh, I'm feeling so much better, Dad. I feel really good." And his history has been that when that occurs, that's usually the first sign of a cascading event that leads him to throw up a few times and then sleep it off for 10 hours until he feels better. But he never got to the point where he had any vomiting. In fact, he and I played some games together that night, and he was just fine. And then he woke up in the morning and experienced the positive side effect.
Oh, good.
He told me, "I slept so good last night, Dad, can I have another one?"
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome. And speaking about that example that you just gave, is there an age limit as to who can wear the patch? Can you put it on your baby, or?
Yeah, so CBD has actually been used in clinical studies in children as young as 11 months. Now, when you look at it from a safety standpoint, it has a really wide safety margin. We do have some other botanicals in there that we need to consider, and so considering all of the botanicals and the formulation with the CBD, we chose to say that 2 and older. And for general, I would say if you have a child between the ages of 2 and 5, I would probably use a half of a square on them. Smaller bodies respond better than our bigger adult bodies to natural solutions, and so they probably only will need that much in order to get a benefit. Now, once they're 6 and older, they generally can start using the whole square, and that would be just fine.
So progress them to 1 square versus a half. Very good. Let's see. Okay, so Becky Forbes is asking, if someone gets a skin irritation from the square, what oils do you recommend to help with that?
If they experience some irritation, my first go-to would probably be the Zija, Skin Pure Zija oil. Okay. And the reason for that is that that's just so great for nourishing and restoring and rejuvenating the skin. And so having that with some of the skin-friendly oils that we recently added to that product and updated it with, I think you would get good response. If that doesn't work, then some other options are like an embolden or a helichrysum or lavender, and then cover that with some of either the Zija oil or aloe and coconut.
Perfect, awesome. And can you also wear this for longer than 24 hours, or would you say remove it after the 24 hours have passed?
I think for best results, you'll want to remove it after 24 hours because the maximum amount of the delivery has already occurred by 24 hours, and your skin needs to breathe. It's a living organ, and so it's got to have air and oxygen, and so that's why we want to rotate the spot. If we're constantly covering one spot here, that skin is not breathing like it's meant to, and so
very good to
take
know.
it off after the 24 hours, put a new one on.
Perfect. Let's see if we have any more questions coming in. Let's see here. Sweating issues on the square coming off.
So if it's coming off during sweating, that generally will tell me that it wasn't adhered properly in the beginning. I personally have put one on and I've showered with it, and I've gone through a high intensity interval training workout that I sweat a lot during, and mine have never even come loose. And so it probably wasn't put on a clean skin to start with. That's important that we have clean skin that we apply it to, or the edges didn't get adhered right, or maybe there's a lot of hair on the area and so it didn't adhere because of that.
Good, very good to know. Stacy here is asking, is this product THC free?
It's not. In order for you to provide a full spectrum hemp product, then it will have some THC in it. You want to see more than just the CBD in it. We want to see other cannabinoids like THC, CBG, CBN, CBC. So there are a lot of other cannabinoids that will be present within the product if you have a full spectrum product. So it's going to be less than the federal regulations, which the federal law now states that you can have 0.3%, less than 0.3%, and that's considered industrialized hemp. And our product has been tested, both the CBD individually and then also the product itself, to show that it is less than that 0.3% THC.
Good, perfect. Let's see, any more questions? Why would someone feel tired after using the square?
There's a potential that they've had an interaction with something. If you're using it with other sedating solutions, so even alcohol, if somebody drinks alcohol while wearing a square, that could potentially increase the sedating effects that you can feel. Any medications that might be sedating that the person is taking. And there are individual responses. Some people might feel a little bit tired. It's not the common response, but some people can feel tired. Others, actually, it's energizing for them and they feel really energized. But those are kind of the outliers. For the majority of people, it's not making you feel tired or super energized. It's making you feel balanced.
Very good. Okay, let's go ahead and take 2 more questions. We've got Jerry Shipman asking, does it help with shingles?
So again, just going back to what we talked about with migraines, shingles is a known medical condition, and so this is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure any medical condition. That being said, CBD can interact with the nervous system, with receptors found within the nervous system, as well as those found within the skin. And so whether or not it would work for that or to help giving any kind of relief or soothing effects, it would be really a trial and error thing. I'm not aware of any research for it directly with shingles, and that's largely because CBD is really not, it's not a drug. It's not meant to diagnose, treat, cure anything.
Very good, thank you. All right, this is going to be the last question here. Let's see, are there any negative effects from prolonged use?
If you were taking large amounts orally, and I'm talking really high amounts, I would say that you could potentially have some negative effects. People can experience nausea and some other effects, but with a transdermal, we're actually bypassing the first pass of metabolism through the liver, and so it's actually a much safer method of delivery into the body. Long-term use, I don't have concerns because we have lower amounts, and it's a transdermal delivery method. So I really can't see a risk in it given the formula that we have put together and how it's designed and manufactured.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Scott. If you still have additional questions in reference to this product or would like to know more about it, Dr. Scott will be doing a tour, Entune tour. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so starting next week, I'll be in the West Coast, and so I'll start up in Oregon and then work my way down and go into Washington, a couple cities in California, and then I'll have a couple weeks break to be back in the office before the last week in April. We'll continue the tour, and not everything's confirmed. We do have Boise and Las Vegas confirmed, and possibly one other event maybe in the Phoenix area.
Perfect. So what can they expect out of this event if they attend one?
An in-depth training on the endocannabinoid system, what CBD does, and the Entune product itself. So roughly about 60 minutes of training there to learn more about the product and this system that so many people should know about and know how it works and why it's important.
Perfect, awesome. If you want to know the specific locations of where Dr. Johnson will be, you can visit zijaevents.com for a listing of the different locations. Thank you, Dr. Scott. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, see you later.